Hello there, I am Enemaku Ojochegbe and this is Nation Watch. It's a program that tells you everything about Nigeria and of course the international community, from politics to governance, medical care and everything you can think of. We are actually the watchers of the nation. All right, on this program you can watch the nation just as the name suggests. But then, today we're not talking about politics, but let me just give you a rundown briefly of what is going on in Kogi State, because the elections are 7 months away, the governorship election that is. Now, 18 political parties have indicated interest and have completed their primaries to present candidates for the election. It's going to hold on November 11, 2023. What will you do as a citizen of Kogi State if you do not have a permanent voter's card yet? You need to get it. If you haven't transferred yours to Kogi State, you need to do just that. If you are in Kogi State, resident there, make sure you go out and cast your ballots on November 11. All things being equal, of course, because you know that elections can be postponed in this country at the nick of time. Having said that, let's move on to what we're discussing today, medical tourism. A lot of persons have heard about medical tourism regarding how that it is a lavish lifestyle of Nigeria's leaders and how it has robbed the country silly regarding our resources in terms of how the leaders, spend taxpayers' money on wasteful ventures and journeys outside the country seeking medical care for issues as little as headache. Yes, you're surprised? Well, you understand exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not going to go deep into that. But then there is a different dimension to medical tourism and how it can be harnessed to benefit the country, and taxpayers' money will not be wasted, as it were. I have here with me on Nation Watch today somebody who is very vast in the field of medical tourism. He is known as an African trailblazer in medical tourism. He is he's an outstanding travel consultant and medical tourism specialist based here in Abuja, the nation's capital. He's the founder and chairman, chief executive of Emblem Travels and Tours Limited, All Africa Medical and Wellness and Fitness magazine. He's also the current director of Turkish Healthcare Travel Council, Abuja, Nigeria Network Office. He's an expert in the field. He is always nominated as a guest speaker representing Africa at Global Healthcare Travel Forum. In 2017, he was the only medical tourism facilitator chosen from Abuja as a foreign delegate and Advantage Healthcare Conference in Bangalore in India. He is also an online business networking. He's also involved in online networking business, meeting on health and health tourism between Africa and Islamic countries 2022. I'm talking about no other than Usman Isa. Good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, my brother.
Let me begin with this. Are you happy with the way Nigeria's leaders travel out of the country to, as it were, waste taxpayers' money on medical care?
You cannot really blame them, people traveling abroad for medical treatment, because they feel that what they are looking for, they cannot get it here. They feel they cannot get it. That is why they are going abroad to get. And a lot of Nigerians don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear about medical tourism, especially our medical personnel and those that are the hems of affairs, because of what we are losing to outbound medical tourism.
Okay.
They don't want to hear that. And the question that I always ask, that I always beg for answer, is that the economy we are talking about, the economy is made for demand, but not demand for the economy. So, for example, if people are losing their lives because we want to save money for the economy, then of what use is the economy?
Good question. All right. The president of Nigeria actually wanted to ban medical tourism, while Nigeria's local healthcare service providers, they're of the opinion that, he has to reverse it because he feels that, like I mentioned earlier, Nigeria's resources are being exported abroad. What's your take?
Yeah, there is nothing like revising medical tourism, and nobody can ban medical tourism. The challenge we are having in Africa, especially Nigeria, is that many of Nigeria lack proper understanding of medical tourism, and many don't have right knowledge of medical tourism. The reason why I say so is not far-fetched. If you ask any Nigerians about their understanding of medical tourism, they will simply say medical tourism is all about traveling abroad for obtaining medical treatments.
All right.
And I don't agree to this school of thought, because the real concept of medical tourism encompasses both intra-band, which is also known as domestic medical tourism, in-band and outbound medical tourism.
Right.
So to my own understanding, medical tourism simply means traveling from where one is residing to another location in order to obtain quality medical treatments. It may be from one local government to another, from one area council to another, from one state to another, from one country to another country, or people coming to your country to receive treatments. So nobody can ban medical tourism. And as I'm speaking right now, more than 117 countries are promoting medical tourism worldwide. And it may interest you to know that 5 of our Africa countries are among. We have Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, South Africa, Kenya, and others.
Is Nigeria subscribing to this?
Well, because instead of Nigeria to look for how we will key in, we're busy condemning it. We're busy say we are reversing it. Like as I said earlier, there's nothing like reversing medical tourism, whether you are in or you are out. Whether we are partaking in medical tourism or we are out of the game. So there's nothing like reversing medical tourism.
The reason a lot of Nigerians do not like the idea is because we do have local medical facilities, the general hospitals, the community health centers, and what have you. A lot of times you go there, you cannot access quality health care. What if the leaders, do all within their power, legislative power, executive power, to equip these medical facilities first, so that when you have a medical issue, you go there, get treated, you won't have reason to travel abroad. Doesn't that make sense?
Yes, it makes sense. But by the way, there's one thing we fail to know in Nigeria. We know that at times we generalize some issues. When we say something is bad, at times there are some portion of it that may be good. For example, some people will say, this tribe, you are from where? Say, I'm from so place. They say, your people are bad. You are Nigala, you are Jujuma. So at times, people generalizing. So medical tourism is a good thing that Nigeria is supposed to embrace. And Nigeria has seen that most of our hospitals, they are bad, especially if you go to public hospitals, there's nothing to write home about. But that does not mean that we don't have good hospitals in Nigeria.
So what are the good ones that we have among our medical facilities?
Yeah, one of it is the Kidney Medical Center, Zenith Kidney Medical Center in Abuja. We have Dr. Wada hospitals, we have NISA Premiers, and others.
Now, these medical facilities that you mentioned, they are owned by private individuals.
Yes.
What is the responsibility of government to begin with?
Yeah, if you go, especially if you go abroad, you see that most of the top-ranking hospitals there is owned by individuals.
Is that so?
Not even public. And one thing we fail to understand in Nigeria is that we are render healthcare services as if we are doing a charitable kind of thing.
All right.
So healthcare services delivery has to be balanced. Balanced in the sense that we have to be looking from two directions. We have to look at it as a non-profit and profit venture. That is when we'll get it right. Because if you go to India, for example, I've been to India several times.
Right.
If you go to India, government is rendering healthcare services as a non-profit venture. Why private? They are running there's a medical as business, pure business. Because as I'm speaking to you now, day in, day out, top-ranking hospitals from India, from other countries, they call me, Mr. Osman, what is there? We have not been hearing from you. Send us patients. We have not been getting patients from you. We'll make sure when your patient come, we'll treat them with care. We'll give them good accommodation where they can, service apartment where they can cook their food. We'll give them good discount. We'll do this, we'll do that. You understand? Because there is a competition there.
All right.
But Nigeria, the only thing that will make healthcare system work in Nigeria is we need to balance our healthcare system by seeing healthcare system as a profit and not profit-making venture. That is when we'll get it right.
Let me take you back a little bit one more time.
Yeah.
The healthcare facilities, or rather the hospitals you mentioned,
Yes.
Fantastic health facilities, no doubt. But how many people, how many ordinary Nigerian taxpayers can actually afford to pay for the services there?
Oh,
you understand where I'm going now?
Yes, I know.
If you have malaria, for instance, you don't have malaria, don't mind me. I'm just making an example. But then, to treat ordinary malaria fever, in these hospitals that you mentioned, God knows exactly how much it's going to cost. People in communities around Abuja, for instance, how can they access the hospitals that the government provided, Wuse District Hospital, Maitama District Hospital, and Asokoro District Hospital, and all of these. When you get there, you don't want to go back there a second time. You understand? Now,
Yes.
so isn't it, just fair for government to improve on the services at these government-owned health facilities first before it ventures into making profit organizations, as you mentioned?
Good question. Good question. But what I have to say here is that government we know that it's the responsibility of government to provide an enabling environment for our local healthcare service providers. And that is what we are lacking in Nigeria. If you go abroad, like as I said, at times you see in India, for example, what I always use India is that 70% of Nigeria travel to India for Medicare. If you go to India, at times you see poor people, less privileged people in one of the biggest hospitals there. And you'll be wondering, how will these people, how are they going to pay for it? So all the medical tourists that are coming to India for treatments, there is amount of money that the government is tasking them.
All right.
And they are setting the money aside for the less privileged ones.
Their own citizens.
Yes, for their citizens. So when their citizens are sick and they come to the hospital, they look at the pulse and take something from. If what they have in their pulse is not enough, then government will add to it for them to receive treatment in most of the big hospitals.
That explains it. Now, I understand you have an event coming up.
Yes.
Could you tell Nigerians about that event?
Yeah, our event is titled AMWE. AMWE stands for All Africa Medical and Wellness Expo. It is a platform created to bring the world of healthcare together, to interact, share view and idea that will help in develop sustainable medical tourism for Nigeria and other Africa countries. The sole aim of AMWE, first, is to put Nigeria on the list of medical tourism destinations in Africa, and second, to make Africa a popular medical tourism destination. You may be surprised to know that Nigeria, being the giant of Africa, is yet to be among the 5 countries that are promoting medical tourism in Africa. These countries include Egypt, South Africa, Tunisia, Morocco, and Nigeria. And 2 of our Africa countries are warming up, which are Kenya and Tanzania. Studies have shown that Nigeria loses no less than $1 billion to outbound medical tourism year in, year out. The question is, how long will Nigeria economy continue to bleed this way? So in this case, there's need for us to introduce domestic medical tourism in Nigeria officially, because introduction of domestic medical tourism and wellness tourism in Nigeria will reduce the rate of outbound medical tourism, and it will solve a lot of problems. The problem, like our local healthcare service provider has to sit up to start acquire more knowledge, get more equipments, latest equipments, and also try to improve in their healthcare delivery. Because any local healthcare service provider that is not ready to improve should be ready to lose this to our patient to the serious ones. So it's not be business as usual. For example, if a patient is sick and is staying in Abuja, the first thing you start looking for the treatment in Abuja. And if you cannot get, maybe at times you may get the treatment in Abuja, maybe the cost of treatment is high, cannot afford. Instead of the patient to think outside the box, to start looking for the treatment elsewhere, he will strict himself until maybe the situation gets out of hand and eventually the patient may die.
And nobody wants that.
Yes,
they will always look for a solution that is readily available.
Yes.
All right. In preparing for these events, what challenges have you encountered, and how do you hope to, overcome the challenges just before the event arrives?
We have gone a long way, because the first thing we did is that when this idea came up, we registered the platform for it, which is AMWE. It has already registered with CAC. We have designed our website, we have our brochure, and we have our people have already registered on our platform. But the challenge we are having now is that government, which is even one of the major target audience, which is supposed to register, they are not starting registering. And this changing of government is one of the challenge we are having, because our event is closer. The event is August, and the swearing is 29th of this month.
August when precisely?
August 2023. And so, the swearing is 29th of this month. And after the swearing, before they form the cabinet, you understand, the event must be closer.
Start getting closer.
Yeah,
So are you
be
considering
closer.
any
And
shift in the date?
we want to invite the president, which is the number one, to
right.
participate in this event because it's health we are talking about here. The Senate president and the even committee chairman on the health, all these people have to be on ground. The Minister of Health has to be on ground because they are the one that can come up with a policy that will welcome what we're trying to introduce in Nigeria.
Okay, so are you
we also
considering...
we are open for business. We are open for business. We need partners. We need a lot of partners and sponsors to key in.
All right, so are you considering a shift in the date, or you still want to go ahead considering the change of government that's about to take place?
Yeah, for now, I cannot say that because this date has been fixed and this is the right time because we are going to bring people from all walks of life. All our speakers are coming from top medical tourism destinations like India, Turkey, Germany, Ukraine, Jordan, South Africa, and other countries. So they are if we say we are going to we are going to postpone the event, it will definitely affect us because these people coming, maybe this year, I don't think after that August, some of our speakers will be free to come to Nigeria because there are bigger events coming up that period. So for now, I cannot say we are going to postpone the event. All we need is that the right people who are trying to bring in we know it may not be convenient for them. They should try as much as possible to participate in this event and to give us all the necessary support so that we can put Nigeria on the list of medical tourism destinations in Africa.
We do wish you all the very best in the upcoming events. Usman Issa.
Thank you. You're welcome.
That's how it's been on Nation Watch. I am Nemaku Ojochegbe.
Stadium.